Well, hey there, bright light, and welcome to Urban Shamanism with Steffi Funk, where I give you the sacred tools to rise as the light worker you were born to be, so that you can clarify and manifest your divine purpose because the world needs it. So with that, let's dive right into today's episode, and I am going to share with you today the single most powerful tool in your toolkit for working with the fear dragons. So as a reminder, we have spent the last 4 episodes of Urban Shamanism talking about the fear dragons and the weapons for overcoming them. And we do that because the fear dragons are the voices of the ego that keep us playing small. They're all the fears, the doubts, the who do you think you are, the this will never works, that keep you stuck and confused so that you aren't clear on your divine purpose, let alone manifesting it. Because what will often happen is you get a little nudge that maybe, this is what you're supposed to be doing in the world. And then immediately the fear dragons go, that's not it. There's no way you can do that. That'll never work. Who do you think you are? You need way more education to make that happen. And on and on and on it goes. And you're stopped before you even start. So a good way to know if you're having a fear dragon attack is if you're feeling bad. So if you feel bad, I assure you the fear dragons are at play. So that's your first indicator. Okay, a fear dragon is at work here. And then you're going to look in your whole toolkit, all the tools that I've shared with you so far in videos 1, 2, and 3, as well as this video, which I remind you will contain the most powerful weapons of all. And you're going to decide which weapon you need to use to take that fear dragon out so that you can remain focused on your hero's journey and doing the higher work that you were put here to do. So with that, I am going to start with a little story. Now remember, I was just recently in Peru and I had a really hard time. And if you recall, I got there on the first day. The jungle's already scary enough. It's pretty edgy. It's out of the comfort zone, right? And my bag went missing. It was almost in retrospect, because it was such a mystery how it went missing, as though spirit came in and plucked that bag out of the ether and said, I'll be taking that now because you have some lessons you need to learn this week. And they all have to do with fear. Well, in that moment, I was so on my knees, so desperate that I couldn't use any of the arrows, any of the weapons, any of the tools that I've shared with you thus far. I wasn't high functioning enough in that moment to say, I think I'll golden key this today, right? Which was in our first video. Very effective, but in that moment, I was so down and dark, I couldn't get there. And so that brings me to my very first tool of the day today, and what I believe is the single most powerful tool, and that is surrender. So use the surrender tool when absolutely nothing else works, and this is sort of what it feels like. I feel like shit, and there is nothing I can do about it. And you just roll with it. You cry, you scream, you curl up in a fetal position, you get on your knees, you go in bed and put the covers over your head. You do whatever you need to do to ride that wave. Because I will promise you, though trite but true, this too shall pass. And just the knowing that it's going to pass allows you to just explore its depths and explore its humanity. Because the truth is, while you're a spiritual being, you are having a very human experience. And the human experience includes the entire gamut of emotions, thoughts, positive, negative, you name it. And human, you are here to get messy. You are here to play an imperfect game. You don't have to get it right all the time. So if you're like me and you've done a lot of personal growth work and you find yourself in these moments of deep despair where, then it can almost become a double-edged sword, because then it's like, oh my God, I've done all this work and I still can't shake this. I still can't get out of this. That is the moment to surrender, to forgive yourself, to allow, to just go with it. Embrace being human, embrace its messiness, and know that as you're in the depths of that place, that you are not the only human who has ever felt that feeling. That you are feeling it on behalf of all humanity, anyone who's ever felt that way, all of your past lives, your ancestral line, your lineage. You are feeling it on behalf of the world at large, the universe. And as you allow yourself to go there, you provide sort of this like big, ginormous hug of comfort to the entire multiverse, because that's the way energy works. So let yourself go there, ride the wave, relax with it, just go. It will pass, and just like let it be. Let it all be. Even your resistance of it, even your judgment of it, let that be too. How much can you just surrender? And with that, remember too that like without the dragons, this game really isn't any fun to play. Like if everything were all like la 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 all the time, what would be the point? Right? So the dragons, they provide depth to the game and dimension and a little bit of contrast. They provide something to overcome. They provide the foil in the hero's journey that makes the hero's journey interesting. So rise to the challenge. So it's not always perfect. So sometimes you feel bad. So what? So what? It's such a beautifully liberating thought. And then when you get yourself down on your knees, this is sort of what happened to me in Peru, there's access to this idea that I can't do this anymore, right? It's sort of that powerlessness they talk about in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Powerlessness, an admission of powerlessness is great power. And what it will often do is it will lead you to prayer. Because in those moments, it's like you kind of remember, hey, I can't do this all alone. So my prayer in Peru sounded a little something like this. God, help me. Elegant? Maybe not. Helpful? Effective? Yes. It was said with such conviction and such power. In the dark night of the soul, I reached up for help from the higher realms. And I called in the light. It's like I'm always trying to think I can do this all myself. And in that moment, I just remembered I don't have to. There's something else out there that can change me, transform me, heal me. And in that way, it becomes the gift of desperation. It becomes transmutation. And that whole idea of calling in the higher realms is so helpful and so effective. And sometimes I can't get there either. And like, then you just use the surrender tool and roll. But like in those moments where it turns into a prayer of supplication, like, please help me, that's really powerful. And then you can also call on other things in the divine realm to help you, like perhaps the energy of the sun to lift your vibration, or the energy of hummingbird to enter your heart and raise its, beat its wings to raise the resonance of your heart, or the power of owl to come in and ruthlessly be a predator on your fear and to take that out. So you can call on all these really powerful allies and guides and angels and light workers and ascended masters to come in and help you. Whoever you are called to work with, ask them for help. You do not have to do it all yourself. And in fact, you're not meant to. And then one last thing I want to say on this, very powerful tool of surrender and just sort of embracing and relaxing with all of it, and then, calling in the higher realm. They're like several little tools that are part of one big tool, right? Is this idea of containment. So containment is a commitment to whatever's going on inside of you, your thoughts, your emotions, especially if they're like low vibe or negative, that you're not going to dish your shit out on all of the people in the world, right? You're not going to bite the barista's head off, and you're not going to yell at your kid when you're in these spaces. You're going to practice containment, which means allowing all of it to come up and being with it and processing it and doing whatever you need to do without that turning into an outward focus on the world at large. And that will help you not create more karma. And it's a very sort of self-mastery discipline to be able to do that and to make a commitment to doing that at any cost to the ego. Because the ego wants you to spread that shit around. The ego wants you to create karma all day because that's drama for the ego. It gives it something to do, has a lot of fun with that. It thrives off of that, right? It thrives off of your attention going with the story and with all the drama. So when you just like practice surrender and this idea of kind of taking care of it internally, that is a really elevated way of working with your trauma, your karma, your negative vibrations. They're going to come. It's normal. I would really encourage you to make a commitment right now to this process of containment, that I will do whatever I can do to take care of my space and my process internally. I say all of that to also say that we're human and shit splatters. And I have yelled at my kid. I have snapped at the barista. And to also then take that a step further in those moments and allow yourself to practice unconditional self-forgiveness. Back to surrender, back to being human. It's okay. It's okay. So, it's never too late to say you're sorry, to clean up your mess, to right your side of the street. Clean up that karma right away if you've dished it out. And more than anything, practice self-forgiveness. Because self-forgiveness is what's known in the Course in Miracles as the holy instant. And remember that enlightenment is not about feeling good all the time. It's about working with all of you and accepting all of you, even your shadow places, as divine. It's all sacred. It's all holy. It's all divine, even the shadow. So, when you do create karma and you do act out when you're not feeling good, that is a perfect divine opportunity to just forgive yourself. Get out of the past. Just release it. Know that in any moment, forgiveness is available to you and it's your right. And Spirit wants to bless you with it. And there's another word for this, and it's called grace. So allow that divine grace to roll in and let everything be just as it is. It's all completely and 100% okay. So with that most powerful weapon of all, surrender, I give you so much honor and credit for making it through this 4-part video series and finishing this with me. And I want to reward you. So I have a gift for you. If you click beneath this video, you will see that there is an opt-in for a cheat sheet. And this cheat sheet is called The Arrows to Slay Those Fear Dragons. And it summarizes all of the arrows, all of the weapons that we've gone through over these last 4 videos in one guidebook. And in that guidebook, I have included a summary of the 7 fear dragons as a reminder. I've included all of the arrows, both in a printable checklist that you can just print off and keep in your car, in your purse, on your fridge, on your mirror, that you can pull out anytime a fear dragon is attacking. And you can say, fear dragon, I see you. I'm going to pick a weapon out of my arsenal and take care of you. And if that one's not working, I'm going to draw the next one and see how that goes. That's my bow and arrow happening over here. Hopefully that translates. So you're going to have the printable checklist in there, as well as a detailed description of all of the arrows that I have gone over with you. And again, your arrow is your tool, right? It's your how to slay the fear dragon. And so think of this guidebook like the bag that holds the arrows. I think it's called a quiver. So it's going to be your quiver with all the arrows in it that then you can just whip out as needed, so that you don't need to find the one tool in one of the videos to remind you what to do when you're in a fear dragon attack, because at that point, that's a hard thing to do, right? So you'll have this guidebook and you'll have your printable checklist, and it's all going to be right there summarized for you. And I am happy to gift this to you as that arsenal of protection that's going to allow you to continue fearlessly on your hero's journey and to arrive at your divine purpose in the world, because we need you operating in that space. And I love to be a part of your journey in that way. So remember too, that with the fear dragons at play, even if they are coming up for you, it is totally okay to show up and do the work anyway, even if you're in fear. I have to do that every single day. Like, getting in videos is not the easiest thing, right? I have to be like, fear dragon, quiet in the back. We're doing a video right now. So just know you can still show up and have fear. It's called courage, and it's the most amazing thing. So don't think that you get to a point where they go away. They don't go away. You just learn how to work with them and move forward anyway on that beautiful hero's journey of yours. And I am here to support you. Download the guide. Be warned and prepared against the fear dragons so that they can't take you down. And I will be back to you next week with a fresh new episode of Urban Shamanism. And it will be talking about how to clarify your divine purpose. So definitely stick around for that next week. And in the meantime, here is your inner shaman work for this week. What can you practice surrender on this week? What sorts of things may come into your world where you can just go, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to go with it. And it's okay because I am human. And I'd love to hear how that works for you, what kind of grace comes in for you by using that process. And then once you've downloaded the guide below, I'd love to hear which of the dragons has you the most by the throat right now, and which of the arrows has been your favorite for addressing and dealing with and slaying that particular dragon. So fill me in the comments below. And with that, sweet spirit, I hope you have a wonderful week. I am sending you all the light, all the love, all the blessings, and I will see you next week.